Star of the day, who will it be?
Here we are.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, Val. Nice to be back with you. Yeah.
Nice to be here for reading the Akashic records. And Aley gets to read the records, and I am going to give her the questions. And so all of you who are coming in soon, because it is early, I did post it on my channel to let you all know we'd be here. But we're going to go in and do that. And, before we do, though, I just want to ask you, Aley, we're going to touch base again at the end, but you have classes and you have memberships and you can book readings, wonderful readings. And Aley is a fantastic Akashic record reader. Amongst other readings she does, and dream interpretation. It's a whole bunch of great things. So check that out on Heart and Soul Connected.online. So .online, not .com, .online.
Right. So, and Val, I have to throw this back at you because you also do all those things, and you can look up information on dragonflycrystals.store. So there you go. There you go.
Yeah. And I just want to say, Lisa Foster, we would do a reading for you if we did personal readings on here, and we don't for Explore the Akashic Records because it is more of a universal community. So we do it. The records we go in and look at are things like what is most important for humanity to understand at this time in our evolution. It'd be something like that. And you're welcome, all of you, to ask those questions that come up in your mind while we're going through some of the pre-prepared questions. And so go ahead and put them in if you have something.
What's really interesting is when we do the community questions, it's a lot that it can be applied to your situation as well. And that's what makes it so nice, because it isn't like just focusing on one soul. It's focusing on
it's universal knowledge that we have always wondered about. Maybe we never even thought we needed to know, but now we know.
I know.
And Lisa came up with a good question.
I love that question. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Hi to Deke. It's nice to see you, Deke.
And I just want to say hi to Deke and Lisa Foster. Thank you for coming in. And we're starting out a little slow there are more people here watching that are in the chat, but that's perfectly okay. And Aley, if you're ready, we'll start out with Lisa's question.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so Lisa's asking, what can that is a personal question.
Well, we can change it
to what can we?
Yeah.
What can we do to make the world a better place?
That's a good question. A better place. Yeah. I'm hearing Michael Jackson singing that song about making the world a better place. I have been hearing it just from the very time you posted that until right now. So Akashic Records Masters, tell me what we can do as individuals and as a collective in order to make the world a much better place than it already is. Many of you are already doing the work, but may not realize as such, because you believe that it needs to be something very big and very all-encompassing. But it is the small lights. It is the small lights that make the world a better place. Returning your cart to the place where they pick up the cart at the grocery store. Picking up trash that you might see that might just be in the way and throwing it in the garbage. Finding in Lisa's case, finding animals and rescuing them, and trying to find homes for them that don't have owners and need the love. So there is a lot that can be done collectively in a small way, and most of us are already doing that, sending love and light to people, taking care of the needs of other people, smiling. I mean, it sounds silly, the Akashic Records Masters is saying, but really it's the simplicity of things that add up and bring us the joy and bring others the joy of living in the space with such intelligence and kindness and compassion. Do not think that anything that you do does not equate to this in those capacities. And there's many other capacities as well that that can bring this kind of donation to charity, donation of goods to charity. It just doesn't end, but all of it is a part of sacrifice, but not sacrifice of pain, and not sacrifice for recognition, but sacrifice for collective vibrational lift and heal.
Beautiful, beautiful answer. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters, and thank you, Lisa, for that question. And Deke has a question as well. What
Okay.
can we do, Akashic Record Masters, to maintain more peace around us? And Deke says they notice so much negativity around.
The Akashic Records Masters admonish us to always begin our day with a bubble of protection in our own environment, and to remember, this may sound very silly, but they said to put a rubber band around your wrist, not a tight one, and every time you have a negative thought, flick that rubber band on you to remind you, no, negative, don't want to go there. But there is a lot of negativity because it is programmed negativity, and it's to keep us in fear and worry and concern. And that way the control is available to those who are seeking to bring that control to the populations. So protecting yourself with light or with bubbles or with whatever you can even put mirrors around you if you want to. Let the negativity bounce back to the people that are having it. But there is a heaviness, and it comes before the fall. And what I mean is not autumn, and not the fall of any particular person, but the fall of an old paradigm and the upliftment of the newer paradigm. We've seen it, history immemorial. The Akashic Records are saying, if you look back and you read about it, you'll see that the Dark Ages, that's why they were called the Dark Ages. And we are bringing more and more light. The best thing to do is to focus on the light you can bring to the world. And every one person's vibration that is spiritual can uplift 200,000 people in their geographical area. Aim for that. Aim for that kind of work.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. That's amazing. I love that. And Deke says, wow, the rubber band sounds like a great idea. That's it. To remind yourself of any time you have a negative thought, boom.
Eventually the rubber band will become not necessary.
Yeah.
Because you're reprogramming yourself in some ways. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. What is most important for humanity to understand right now about soul contracts?
One of the manifestations of societal judgment is looking towards those who you have no idea what their soul contract is, and you wish something else for them, or you wish they'd come around, or you wish they'd do this, or you wish they'd do that. But before we incarnate, we decide what kind of situation we want to come into. And there are some entities who just get in the line for the hardest lessons. And we say to ourselves, once we are here, why did I do that? Why did I decide to contract for that? That brings you much higher vibration and a faster elevation in your spirit than, say, a cushy one that you have not that everybody has troubles, but I'm saying it's less so than some folks, because you'll see some folks go through 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 calamities within their lifetime in order to grow. So soul contracts are something that we have decided upon. We even may pick our parents that are harder than we really should have wanted to do, or we may pick somebody that we want to fulfill that contract with before we come down. And so it's important for us to also recognize, this is the key, that other people have their own soul contracts, and that what we want for them is never to be overshadowed by what they want for them.
Oh, nice. I love that. I love that. That's beautiful. What in terms of consciousness and human evolution, what collective lesson is humanity integrating right now?
The Akashic Records masters work very diligently not to delve into anything negative. And they don't, there could be things that they could say that might be misconstrued as being negative. But they do want to say this. Our lives, the lives of people that are living on the earth right now, have been based upon illusion and manipulation in some cases. And there is currently some collective integration of the understanding that there have been things that we have been fooled by. But it's the collective awakening. It's like the eye is opening, the third eye is opening, our regular eyes are opening to the fact that we have the final choice. We have the final decision, because we have the free will that was given to us before we came down here. And so we can always not agree with that, of which we see, because we have that. But the Akashic Records masters never want us to think that, this is some diabolical way to manipulate us in their realm, because they are all about everything that is good and good for us, and bringing us to full enlightenment.
Oh, that's a beautiful answer. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. I love that. And going back to soul contracts, what is the difference between a soul contract, a soul agreement, and a karmic bond?
They're making me laugh, because they're saying, well, the Constitution has this, but then they have this amendment, and then this amendment, and this one, there's a lot more of them. They're saying you're familiar with the way that works, because at least have some knowledge of the Constitution. Well, this is the same way. A soul contract is something we do for ourselves. A soul agreement is something we do that includes another soul. Perhaps both of us are working on the same thing, or we've agreed to come back together in order to complete something, or just maybe enjoy each other again and try out different roles in the relationship. And the karmic one is slowly burning away, because a lot of us are now realizing that it's ancestral healing that we need, more than worry over past life healing, even though some of us do carry those wounds. Some of it has been instituted, the karmic stuff has been instituted by belief in such a system, and thinking that if something doesn't work out the way you'd like it to, or there's some kind of retribution going on, that it should be blamed on such things. but all of these contracts lie under the same sort of constitutional agreement. And they're just different when it comes to specificity of whether or not this part's for me, this part's for you and me, and this part is possibly something that we agree to or we agree not to think about anymore.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. I love that. That's a beautiful answer, Akashic Record Masters. And why do souls choose challenging soul contracts or contracts with certain people?
The best explanation of that is that when we were in the all-knowing state, and we've had rest between lifetimes, we think, well, I can do that. It's kind of like it's making that decision where I want to grow faster. I want to be put in an accelerated program so that I can get that higher vibration and that knowledge faster than I would if it was in the astral realm or in another realm. And then when they come to Earth, they're asking themselves, why would they ever have decided to do that? But a lot of it is for growth. And it's like a leap of growth that these people go through. Another part of it is they take the lesson, let's say, again, because they didn't quite get it the first time and they want to make different choices this time. And some people, for instance, have decided not to live very long, and that's for the embodiment and the upliftment of those around them. So the parents, the grandparents, the siblings. It's very difficult because most people will think that we can just question away something, or we can say that, but it's beyond that. It's not meant to be hurtful or against a certain population or person.
Okay, lovely, wonderful. How do soul contracts support awakening rather than just suffering?
Discernment and reflection are important. Most of us, when we're going through periods of uncertainty, pain, the negative experiences, we don't stop to think why we're going through them or what they can teach us. And many times in reflection, looking back at something as 20/20 vision, we see that this happened in order for this to happen. For instance, I lost my job because it was a dead-end job. It was never meant for me to be there forever. And then I was able to find this job or this person or this opportunity or whatever it was. Or I took a leap of faith when that happened so that I might not have taken while I was sitting in that energy.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. I love that. How do we know when a soul contract is active in our lives?
They're telling me that a lot of us have that aha epiphany, because many people don't even know about soul contracts, that they're the ones that put themselves in this situation. And they ask what the meaning of life is. They ask what's their best way to go. They ask outside themselves. But it's when they begin to start asking the questions of themselves and looking more interiorly, they recognize, well, this has been something that they have been dealing with their whole life. And that has to be some kind of a contract. Keeps coming.
Oh, yeah. That's lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. And can a soul contract exist with a group, not just an individual?
I think it can within a familial group, but it almost seems like it's more of a soul arrangement when it works with a group. For instance, many of you are here on the earth right now as volunteers. The spirit Dolores Cannon spoke of this in her works, and she was directly communicating with the Akashic Records Masters and her own guides at the time. And so many of us can collectively say that we felt we were called here, even as young people. And the experiences that came to us at that time were in preparation for this. And some people had to have a longer preparation period, and some people had to have a preparation period longer because they needed to know what it was to live life, let's say, in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, 1940s, 50s, and 60s, in order for them to look back and say, wait a minute, I remember we took care of that, but now we have to do it again. And so it's a way of beefing up or pulling up the others who did not live in those times and did not go through those periods. And they can turn to those who did in order to be of best benefit.
Wonderful. Okay. That's exciting. And now we're moving to parallel lives. So, Akashic Record Masters, what is most important for humanity to understand right now about parallel lives?
The Akashic Records Masters are saying that the entity who is speaking through you today recognizes that recent work on dreams and their meanings have some connection with parallel living and parallel choices, whereas we never believed that. Dreams being living out in a parallel life, and the connection with parallel lives. And could you repeat the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
It is what's important for humanity to understand right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the fact that there are many parallel lives is almost like the fact that there are many, many decisions that are being made. Mm-hmm. And some of them, it's like going into a traffic circle or a roundabout, whatever you call it, where you live. And there's an exit here, and then there's an exit here, and there's all the way around the circle. And it's like, you can take this one, you can take that one, you can take this one. You can also go back around the circle and check out the other exits. But things have changed in that area once you do that as well, because time will change and experience will change, and the present moment is different.
Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. How do parallel lives differ from past lives in the Akashic understanding?
They're all looking at each other. You go first. You go first. You go first. Past lives can also have parallel lives in them, and parallel memories is what they're saying. So there is a connection between parallel lives and past lives, in that you, and also the fact that we don't remember every single thing in our conscious awareness of what happened in that lifetime and how that may have affected us. And the same goes with the parallel lifetime. But that's where we get these time warps. We had one in November of 2024. We had a shift. We had a shift in timelines, and I believe that is available as well in any past life timeline as well. So that sometimes you may have someone read on a timeline that aligns with another reader's timeline, but there's a different message or there's a different aspect to it. And some of that is these parallel lines are us looking at what we're doing and wondering what the other way would have been like. And we can't go back, we can't do it, but we can hear. We can hear, and it may even influence our reading.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that, Akashic Record Masters. And are parallel lives occurring simultaneously from a soul's perspective?
They're saying yes, because everything is perfect in the right in the now moment. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And
Mhm.
how can another life influence what we are feeling or experiencing right now?
Each life brings many lessons and many wounds. And so some of those wounds and some of those lessons were not healed before the entity crossed to the other side. And so that is why they continue. They're in the fabric of the soul. And they're almost clamoring to be released. And there is some work that some people have started, and they're on the right path of soul retrieval. In other words, it's almost like I'm seeing a mesh or a grid that has holes in it that are bigger. And it's almost as though we need to sew up those broken grids or those broken connections in order to heal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Oh, all right. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. And it's funny, that was the next question. Can healing in this life affect a parallel expression of the soul? So can healing in this life affect a parallel expression of the soul?
They're saying yes because everything is so connected. Although
Right.
we haven't grown or learned about parallel lives or parallel living or parallel choices, they've always existed, and we're just coming to terms with that. And many people who have been put in institutionalized or been put in a place where they're having these multiple personalities, some of that is parallel lives.
Interesting.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. That's
Mhm.
that's something to think about. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters.
Yeah.
Why are certain parallel lives more accessible to awareness than others?
They tell me it's a one-off. It's very closely related to the life that we are currently living, but it's got some other aspect that is not yet manifesting in the life of the living. And it's almost, that's why it's hanging there, and it's waiting to be manifested if that's the choice of the soul.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you, Akasha Record Masters. And back to consciousness and human evolution. What frequency is becoming more available to humanity in this current cycle?
Instant manifestation is becoming very, it's, yeah, in the quantum field. It's becoming more and more so. Many people are thinking about something. It started with our awareness that whatever we say um, shows up in a social media feed as an advertisement or as a topic or and it started that way. And we are now aware that AI is listening, but this is a much higher elevated and angelic force, and it is manifesting. Yeah, it's manifesting in the quantum field for not just like cars and trucks and all that, but
Mhm.
healing, being in the right place at the right time, finding one's love, finding one's purpose, that growing. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's exciting.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, we are taking questions that are of a universal nature. If you have questions that relate to humanity's journey or anything about the cosmos, we can look into the records, our spiritual journey in general, no personal questions. And so we're going back to ask about what are people awakening from? So,
Mm. Ignorance. Ignorance.
oh,
They're waking, and not in a nasty way, ignorance. What they're saying is that we come down and there's this veil, the
mhm,
veil from the other side, of course, but we also have this veil And we are awakening to the fact that what we are seeing is not always what is reality, and that there's a lot of manipulation. There are a lot of people that are understanding that manipulation can be eradicated by our beliefs and our understanding that we have the power. The power is within us. It is not outside of us. And that we need to take the power we have and, of course, exponentially, if possible, with our community, make the changes that we wish to make.
That's a perfect segue to the next question, Akasha Record Masters. How is conscious, how does embodied presence actually look like, or what does it look like in everyday life if you are that consciously embodied awakened person? What would that look like?
It's different for everyone. However, it is there is some examples might be birds. There are birds or animals that allow you to come within a range that most won't because of their own fears of us. It is miraculously catching something out of the corner of one's eye. It's being in the right place at the right time. It is waking in the morning knowing that there's a purpose to the day. There's a lot of different ways that we can manifest it. Some people don't recognize the signs because they're looking for a huge explosion of something to happen in a good way, and it doesn't have to, it's usually in the subtle, more subtle realms that we get these messages, but we have to be open to get them. So,
Excellent. Thank you, Akasha Record Masters. What is the deeper purpose of remembering who we are?
The deeper purpose of remembering who we are is the recognition that our soul is part of the fabric of humanity, and each one of us are important. We've chosen the life that we want to live, and we've also agreed to meet those that come along the way. And I'm getting self-love. I'm getting that it's recognizing that if we don't love the self, it's very difficult for us to do much else.
Wonderful. Thank you, Akasha Record Masters. In terms of energy and spiritual growth, what blocks most people from sensing their own intuition?
The tapes. We all have audio tapes in our heads that say, well, you can't do that. That's not right. So we're hearing that from other people, but so we're also saying it to ourselves. And there's a lot of people who already know what in their gut sounds right or not right. Many of them might ask for readings and they already know the answer, but they're really wondering. So they're asking for affirmation or negation of that feeling, but that's blocking, and you're ignoring something. That's not to say you can't ask others or that you can't get confirmation. What it's saying is we have to learn to trust what it is that we have within us in order for us to move and grow and rise, and stop the tapes of negativity, of self-worth. And that's difficult because it's again, maybe again, that rubber band. That's that thought that, wait a minute, I don't mean that, snap, and then eventually we come into our own and say, thoughts are things, words are things, they mean something. Yeah.
And really segueing into that, thank you, Akasha Record Master. Segueing into that is, how can people strengthen that trust in their inner knowing?
They are saying that it is wonderful to apply the tools of messaging in order to look at a pattern that may exist in the things that come to you. So, for instance, you could take even regular playing cards, and one day you pull out one of the cards and you write it down, and the next day you do it again. How many times what card comes up? More and more and more. Or what message comes through? More and more and more. The same could be said of dreaming. Writing down some of the thoughts and feelings that you had during the dream, or the images that you saw. You could also bring that to music lyrics. Music lyrics usually can identify state of mind, and they might even give you an answer to something.
Yeah. Beautiful. Akashic Record Masters. I love that. What is the difference between spiritual information and embodied wisdom?
Spiritual information is how we learn, and embodied wisdom is taking the learning and making it manifest in the quantum field or in our own lives. It's not just saying, well, I read this book, this book, this book, and this book, but nothing worked in here that you felt that you wanted to apply to your life, and yet you liked the books. So what is it that you liked? Why don't you move forward and take those concepts and bring them to your life and see how things change for you?
Beautiful. Wow, that's powerful. And what helps a person remain energetically clear in chaotic environments?
Mm-hmm. It's very important to balance your chakras and to ground yourself. And you don't have to do a elaborate clearing. All you're doing is thinking about the energies coming up through the chakras. And if you can't remember what they are, think of the name Roy G. Bibbs. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. That's Roy G. Bibbs. And so you can start with red and so forth. So that's important right there. Using any kind of protection around yourself. You're going into a car, you're going to drive somewhere, you want to make sure you put protection around yourself, trusting in the angels to deliver you where you want to go. There's a lot you can do in order to do that. Maybe even do some sage clearing, do some moon bathing. There's so many different things that one size doesn't always fit all.
Perfect. Okay. Love that. Akashic Record Masters, thank you. And what practices genuinely raise coherence rather than spiritual performance?
They're showing me an entity walking along the beach if their feet are in the water. Mm-hmm. They're saying it's the simple back to nature things. It's the silence, it's simplicity, it's a cup of tea with a biscuit or a cookie. It's working in your yard and your garden. They're saying all of those things bring you to that quiet space within yourself that gives you the opportunity. Some people in the shower, mm-hmm. they're in there by themselves. They don't have there's nothing else they can really do except stand there or clean themselves. So there's a lot of time and opportunity for that silence. And with the ion release from the shower, you've got the double benefit of the energy being cleansed.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much, Akashic Record Masters. What is the relationship between attention and manifestation?
Attention is one of the first aspects of manifesting something. When you move your attention to something that you want, be sure it's what you want, not what you don't want. So they're saying, you find something that you would like, some admirable trait, a class you'd like to take, a job you'd like to have, a romantic partner you might be interested in, and you shower that attention on your own attention And then I say very closely is intention. There's attention and then intention and then manifestation. So you can take what you're thinking about, and you can say, what do I really want this? Do I really want this to manifest? If not, I got to change my attention. But because wherever my attention goes, manifestation can happen. So do not think you're going to lose your job. Do not think, that the house is going to blow up or whatever it is that's negative that you're worried about. Don't take that. Snap it.
I love that. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters.
Yeah.
And what happens energetically when a person chooses authenticity?
I see people walking on air in a big line, and I'm getting the message. The Akashic Records Masters are giving me this message that it's not pounding the pavement anymore. In other words, you are doing what you came here to do. And although people may reject you for it, or may think that it's silly, or that it's, why are you doing that? It doesn't matter. It's none of your business what they think. And it's much lighter road to walk. And again, it's like they are not walking on water, but they're walking on air. That's what I see them doing.
Oh,
yeah.
It's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. That's a great visualization. Thank you. Akashic Record Masters, we're going to switch to relationships and connection with the next question. What are relationships teaching humanity now?
The relationships are teaching humanity right now that we need unification and not well, come on, give me the word, Akashic Records Masters. Split down the middle by, polarization, not polarization. They're teaching us that polarization is not good, and that on this side, there's polarization in a group, and this polarization also in a group. And so it doesn't matter if there's one over here and one over here, or 20,000 over here and the same over here. It's teaching us that we need to come together. And Akashic Records Masters is saying, don't wait for the calamity. Don't wait for the calamity. You already know what the message is. You already know what you need to do. So do it. Do it.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Call to action, everyone. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And how are soul-aligned connections changing?
Much like the idea of friends who can be friends for a moment, a year, or a lifetime, whatever that cliche comment is, there are some people that will cycle out of our lives, or we will cycle out of their lives, and it's not due to maliciousness or anger, or it's the growth aspect. This is why many people decide, if they are not happy with their current romantic partner, to not hang out and stick with this for years and years and years, that there has to be some kind of a healing that occurs. And it doesn't mean that if you were married or you were together that you have to stay that way if you're unhappy. So it's the same way with friendships or any other relationships. And with the animals that seem to be coming, I want to say undone. They're moving to the other side. They are making that break purposefully in order for us to also realize that no relationship lasts forever, and it's okay.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's very important to remember. And what Akashic Record Masters creates resonance between people beyond the personality?
Many of us are brought together for our mutual belief systems, not just personality, mutual understanding, a soul recognition, perhaps past life recognition, what the soul needs to learn. It might be that this particular person can bring that to them. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be any kind of a relationship. And we can also be that conduit for the same thing for others.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I love that. Love that answer. And Akashic Record Masters, how can people communicate more consciously?
One of the hardest things the Akashic Records Masters is saying is that we do not stop to listen and then reply after thinking about what was said. We tend to be defensive. And so they're saying sit with something longer than just an instantaneous reply or retort even. Sarcasm has its place, but and is fabulous. And most of the time people, if there's something that could uplift but using sarcasm could uplift the conversation and make it lighter. That's fabulous. But there aren't people most of the time that have a quick answer, but they try to give one. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. What does true energetic reciprocity feel like?
It's very heart-centered. They're bringing me to Tantra, which is more of a sexual healing, but there are principles in the Tantra where everything is focused on the other, and then the other person is doing the same thing, whereby they become more of one entity or one unified understanding. And the energies are of love and acceptance and compassion and happiness and all the good qualities that can happen. And there is a degree of nirvana. It's much like, I guess some of you down there would say, getting high. Perhaps it's a good feeling. It's light. It's beautiful.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And the last question in the relationship and connection category is, how do we honor individuality while remembering unity?
That's a beautiful question. The earthlings that grew from much competition and judgment. If somebody was not espousing the same ideas, the same belief systems, or the same kind of trajectory, there's I want to say, a gossipy attitude towards it. And yet we all know that if we'd be very, very boring if we were all the same. And so it's the idea that you do you, I'll do me, and where we need to connect together is where the unification comes in. So, for instance, somebody may be a sports fanatic and others never want to go see any sports games, aren't interested. So I wouldn't be going with that person to a sports game, and they probably wouldn't be begging me to go. We would have an understanding. But maybe another thing that we do is we like to sit on the beach and have a picnic. And so we meet in that area. And I think that can be said generally and also specifically to spiritual work. We can meet together in the areas that we find agreement.
I love that. That's very beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, now we're in the category purpose and creativity.
Mm.
And the question is, Akashic Record Masters, how does a person recognize their natural gifts?
If possible, go back, look at pictures, talk to somebody that lived when you were small, and have them explain who they see you as, or what you liked to do, or what you liked, what you were most interested in, what kind of I want to say personality, but it isn't really just personality. It's more of like a spiritual personality. What kind of belief system did you grow in? That doesn't mean it won't have changed. But many times we can trace back to 5 or 6 years old with what our sense of being on the planet, because we're so much closer to that soul contract we made on the other side. So whatever it is that we seem to generally be geared to, are the gifts that we might have. We're often saying, well, that's not really that good. This one can do that. And don't compare anybody. Do not compare yourself to another person. You are individual. You are the one who came here to do your own soul's work, and everything that you do that is for the good of the community, the whole, the planet, is your purpose.
Wonderful, wonderful. A great answer. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. And why do creativity and spiritual expansion often arise together?
Many people are afraid to begin creative projects, because there's those tapes again. You aren't a very good artist. This isn't as good as Mary's job. This is, you didn't really do that. It shuts us down. So now you're in a position where you have the time, the inclination to open up to all of those things. And they've always been there, much like spirituality. Many of us have shut it away. We were afraid of it. We didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know. And so now it's just allowing yourself to be reopened to what it is you already are. And there's that authenticity again. It's asking for your gifts to come through, even in a creative way, because spirituality and what we all like individually is creative and is individual.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. And Shining Light, Love Light Truth is asking, is it too late for a question? If it's a universal question for everyone, you can put it in still. We have a couple of minutes left. So go ahead and put that in, and I'll put it up for the Akashic Record Masters. So a question right now is, what happens energetically when someone suppresses their authentic expression?
You've heard the word depression, they're saying. Many of us who have pushed down our authentic self and our gifts and whatever, we're depressed because we have no way to utilize that beautiful ability that we have, because we're afraid of it, or we don't know if we can handle it, or what. But there's a massive amount of people on the planet that are very, very depressed because they don't know how to do it, or they think that they can't do it.
Yeah. Wow, that's a fantastic answer. Thank you so much, Akashic Record Masters. Wow, so true. How can people move from comparison into creation? The realization that comparison is the thief of joy should start the movement of changing the way that a lot of this is all coming back to the way we think. The tapes are in our heads, and the way that we have been conditioned
It's much like they're saying. It's much like some of our older folk say, wow, that person looks really old, but they're younger than me. And it's almost like, oh, good, I don't look that bad. But really, what they're saying is that you're looking through your eyes at yourself. Other
Yeah.
people might feel very differently than you do about that. But the key here is not comparing yourself to anybody else, knowing that you are the original, you are the one, and you came here for your own purpose. And whatever it is they're doing is what they're doing. And if they're comparing, that's their problem, not yours.
That's so beautiful. Thank you, Akashic Record Masters. And Vicky Howell saying, beautiful messages. Love these shows. So thank you for that, Vicky. That's really wonderful. And this really segues into the next question, Akashic Record Masters. What role does joy play in soul alignment?
A very large role. Akashic Records Masters is saying it's like the word happy. I'll be okay. I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. That's all I want to be. All right. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to go find joy. You're going to go find humor and love and laughter and friends and serene beaches. And joy is much like that group of people walking on air. It's a feeling that nobody can take away from you unless you will let them. And so your joy could simply be listening to a baby laugh or listening to a puppy play. It's whatever you find is joy, but it's all around us. We just gotta be open to it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And Shining Love, Light, Truth is asking, would they say CTT, I don't even know what that is, for healing will become another
Modality?
widely used healing modality along with other healing modalities, as there are many. Would they say CTT for healing will become
They're saying anything that does not harm another entity.
And they're clarifying it's consciousness technique transfer.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah.
If the intention is not to harm but to help, everyone resonates with different vibrations.
Widely. And they're saying, will it be a widely used healing modality? Yes. A consciousness technique transfer. Will it become widely used?
The Akashic Records Masters is saying, once accepted and understood, aligned with the intention to assist and help, and that it will eventually, yes. This is how things start to grow. They're saying this is how channeling started. This is how, there's a lot of or Reiki or some of the other things. So yeah, they're saying yes. They're not telling me a time frame, but they're saying it's the intention. If the intention is to hold something for somebody that is authentic, then it's good.
And thank you, Shining Light, Love, for that, Truth for that. And they're saying, perfect. Thanks so much. So grateful. Okay. And it is
time to go.
It is getting there. And thank you, Akashic Record Masters and Aley, for helping us out here. And just want to say again, you can book readings with Aley, Akashic Record readings, and many other readings, plus classes, join memberships. She has gift cards, all kinds of things are on her Heart and Soul Connected .online website. That is where you go. And, all of you, thank you so much for joining us. Aley, is there anything else you want to add?
Nope. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Val's channel, where I'll be asking her, Akashic Records Masters, to answer some questions. So please look for that. We usually meet on Tuesdays Pacific time, 11 a.m. So thank you, Val.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
everything.
you. Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.